Okay, this is my review of a 10th scale ECX Ruckus. I've had it for, easily a year. I kept the stock motor and speed controller in it until upgrading to a 11.1 volt 3S LiPo. Let the magic smoke out of the speed controller and motor. Bad move on not checking the rated specs for the stock hardware. Since then, I have managed to shoehorn in an 8th scale motor from Castle Creations. I'm using the Sidewinder 8th with the 2200 kV motor. Truthfully, I kind of had to shoehorn it in. The size of the motor, the diameter, is considerably larger than the stock. And that's not really a big surprise. It's an 8th scale motor in a 10th scale truck. The amount of power this thing puts out is phenomenal. I'm actually considering weighting the front end of the truck just to keep the front end down. I'm going to do another video just to show you just what it's like. Installation of the speed controller is pretty straightforward. I cut off the two mounting tabs for the stock speed controller and screwed this one down in its place. The motor leads on this Castle Creations motor, I'm not sure if they're shorter or if it's just because the can's longer. I had to make sure that the connectors were as far back as I could get them just so they'd reach. I'm using the stock EC3 connectors just because I have a whole lot of them on hand. Haven't noticed any difference as far as difference in power going to the receiver and the servo for steering. That was one of my initial curiosities, is if this speed controller would supply a little bit more power to it, get some more torque out of the steering. But I think it's just the servo saver on these Ruckuses is where all the slop's coming from. Now, as far as shoehorning this thing in, I can do a teardown video, show you exactly how I did it. And I'm very limited on what gearing I can use just for clearances that are available. Look on this side, you can see the head of the spur gear, pinion, is actually exposed. That silver piece there is actually the end of the motor shaft. This motor comes with a 5mm diameter shaft, whereas the stock motor was 1/8. I kept it as close as possible for the size of the hole that I used. If I'm running in dry or wet, I actually tape it over and check it often. Down the road, I'm considering either finding an aftermarket with a little bit more clearance or making my own cover. The clutch was pretty much left where it was stock. I tried loosening it just to give it a little bit of wiggle room so I don't rip the gears out. But this motor has so much torque, and I increased the weight of the truck so much with this motor that anything over 8th throttle and it was slipping the clutch. I'm using a steel pinion gear, I believe 27 tooth. I left the stock spur. I might have my names mixed up. I'm thinking I'm going to upgrade to a metal spur just because I didn't have my gear mesh set quite right, and I ripped the tops of all the teeth off. So I'm kind of limping along now, just using it till it's worn out. I already have a steel one ordered. And I say that I'm limited on my gearing choices because this is about as close as I can get the motor to the spur gear. If I go with a smaller pinion, it's just going to be simply too far away and you'll never get the mesh right. I believe I'm currently running 27 tooth. I tried to keep it as close to stock as possible just for comparison. Running higher gearing would give you a little bit more clearance or room to move the gear mesh so it's just right. This is actually still a little sloppy. So further down the road I can show you some actual test runs. Sorry it's dirty, I was trying it out. So there it is. If you'd like to see anything else about how I had it installed, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks.